Hello to all our listeners. Today we will be studying Hilchot Shekalim, third chapter. This is Joey Faor teaching here. In the previous chapter, we spoke mainly about the collection of the Shekalim and their place in the temple. In this chapter, we will discuss the Kolbon, a special tax for those who want to convert any amount of money into half shekels, and the responsibility, and as well, we will also be discussing the responsibilities over the Shekalim by those collecting it, etc. In this chapter, there are four main parts. The first part deals with the tax of the kolbon, and it's describing it, what it means. The second part deals with the messengers collecting the shekalim, their responsibilities. What are they responsible for? What are they not responsible for? What if somebody loses the money, etc. The third part of the chapter deals with what happens if someone steals from the shekalim that are to be given to Beit HaMikdash. The fourth part of this chapter deals with what is done with the leftovers of the shekalim that weren't used for the temple. What do we do with these leftovers that weren't used for the temple? Are they still holy? Are they still I wouldn't say holy. Are they still miyuhadim for the kodesh or not? We will see about this in the coming chapter. So let's start. Halacha Aleph. Yes. So this halacha is discussing the conversion of any amount of money for half shekalim in the time of year that the collection of Mahasita shekel, specifically in that time of year. So halacha Aleph. Hasaya shekalim, the half shekels, hakol serichin lahen. They are in high demand. So that each person could give the half shekel that he is obligated to give on his name. לפיכך, כשהיה אדם הולך אצל השולחני ומצרף שקל בשני חסאים, ייתן לו תוספת על השקל, ואותה התוספת נקראת קולבון. Therefore, when somebody would go and want to convert one shekel into two halves, and I'm adding, and this doesn't say about any other amount of money into halves, okay, let's say 5 shekel into halves, into 10 halves, he would have to give an additional amount, a tax, on the money that he's giving because he wants the halves, because halves are in high demand. And this tax is called kolbon. Therefore, therefore, two people, even two people, that gave 1 shekel to the collection of Mahasita shekel, instead of giving halves, are obligated to give a kolbon with this 1 shekel because they are taking away from the amount of half shekels that are there, and the half shekels are in high demand. הלכה ב' כל מי שאינו חייב בשקלים, כגון שתי נשים או שתי עבדים שנתנו שקל פטורים מן הקולבון. However, all those who are not obligated to give the Mahasita shekel, if they do give a full shekel, we said that although they're not obligated, if they give, they may give. If they want to, we don't not take from them. So if they give a full shekel, let's say 2 women wanted to give a full shekel on behalf of themselves, etc. So we do not tax them with the kolbon. וכן אם היה אחד חייב ואחד פטור ונתן החייב על יד הפטור, כגון איש שנתן שקל עליו ועל אישה או עבד, פטור מן הקולבון. Also, somebody who gave 1 full shekel, who wanted to give for himself, and he was obligated, and as well as for somebody who was not obligated with 1 shekel, for example, he had 1 shekel to give for him and his wife, or him and his child, etc., who are not obligated, he would not have to give the tax, even though he's giving 1 shekel to the collectors, and 1 shekel normally, if you give them to the collectors, you would have to give the tax. In this specific situation, you wouldn't. וכן הכהנים פטורים מן הקולבון, והשוקל על יד הכהן פטור מן הקולבון. Also, kohanim that gave 1 full shekel for Mahasita shekel are not obligated to give the tax of the kolbon, and this for the same reason we described in chapter 1, mishum darchei shalom. We don't want to overtax the kohanim, because anyway they don't have their own nahala, they don't have their own land, etc. So they're peturim from the kolbon. והשוקל על יד הכהן פטור מן הקולבון. Also, somebody who switches money through a kohen, switches money for a kohen, in other words, converts certain amounts of money to halves, doesn't have to take the kolbon from the kohen. הלכה ג' הנותן שקל עליו ועל העני או על שכנו על בן עירו, אם נתנו להם מתנה פטור מן הקולבון. So somebody who gives money on himself as well, who is giving mahasita shekel. Okay, for example, one full shekel, he wants to give on himself half a shekel, and then another person half a shekel for himself, and for a poor person who doesn't have money, or for his neighbor who didn't have money and maybe will pay him back. So if he's giving a full shekel, he's giving it as a present, in other words, he's donating their half shekel on his behalf. Okay, patur min kolbon. He is not obligated to give the kolbon, even though he's giving one full shekel. Because he's giving a full half shekel on himself, so that those who can't give, like the ani or his neighbor who maybe doesn't have for some whatever reason, he's giving it on himself, so that those who can't give, and there'll be more money ultimately in Bet HaMikdash, and therefore we don't tax it in the kolbon. However, if he gave on somebody's behalf, not as a present, not as a for the kindness of his heart, but rather he gave it on condition that they pay him back, etc., then he has to give the kolbon as though it was two people giving one shekel, and as we described in Halacha Aleph, they have to give a kolbon. Halacha Dalet. האחים שעדיין לא חלקו מה שהניח להן אביהן, וכן השותפים שנתנו שקל על ידי שניהן, פטורים מן הקולבון. Two brothers, or two or more brothers, who received inheritance from their father, and they haven't split it yet between them, as well as two partners who had money, who had a joint account of money, like a joint bank account in our modern context, or a joint pot of money that they would use for their partnership. These two are not obligated to give the kolbon. In what situation are we talking? Those partners who use the same pot of money, and the money has already changed. In other words, it was already, let's say they had 100 coins, and the 100 coins were already mixed in and used, and they got change back from their coins. In other words, it was the coins, it wasn't the same money that they put in. So for example, you'll have two partners, each partner puts in $50, okay? And you see the amounts of money that each person put in. But once the money has already started to be used and moved and circulated, so we have circulated money here, and this money is as though it's mixed and it belongs to both of them equally, and there's not a specific part that you could point at and say belongs to one partner more than the other. However, if the money in their pot was uncirculated, in other words, it was still visible who gave what, etc., then they would still have to give the kolbon. So let's say we had two partners who had circulated money, and then they split the pot of money back. They split their money, each person however much money belongs and he deserves. And then they remixed it. Although it's circulated money from their first transaction, because they split it and now re-put it together, it is considered uncirculated, and they would need to recirculate this money in order for it to be considered that it belongs to both of them equally, and they are hayavim kolbon, therefore. Until they circulate the money and the money changes, and then they wouldn't be obligated to give the kolbon. Halacha he. Brothers or partners that had cattle as well as money, if they split the money that was jointly theirs, they split it one to another, they are still obligated to give the kolbon, even though they still have a cow that's jointly owned by them. Because the money was already split, we only look at the money. If they split the cow, in other words, maybe they did shechita on the cow, or they sold the cow and split the money of the cow to each one of them, but not the money, they are not obligated to give the kolbon until they split the money. And you don't say that the money, because they already split the cow, it's obvious that they're going to be splitting the money. No, you only go after if the money is split or not split. If they separated the money for each one of the partners, then they are obligated to give the kolbon. However, if the money was still jointly owned by them in the manner described previously, they are not obligated to give the kolbon tax. הלכה ו' הנותן שקל להקדש כדי שיחשבו לו מחצית השקל שהוא חייב בה וייטול חצי שקל ממה שגבה מן החצאים, חייב שני קולבונות. Somebody who gives 1 full shekel in order to receive change of half a shekel, so that it would be considered that he gave a half a shekel to the Bet HaMikdash. Yeah, so he gives half a shekel and he needs to receive change. So normally you would think, right, he would have to give 1 kolbon, right? But the matter is not such. Rather, he is obligated to give 2 times the kolbon tax. Because even if this 1 shekel coin that he was giving was 100% designated for shekalim, in other words, he was not going to take change back, you would still have to give 1 kolbon. So because of that, now that he's getting change back, that's a second transaction done with this 1 coin, or it's fictitiously a second transaction, he has to give 2 times the kolbon tax for that 1 coin that he gives on himself. So in reality, he would benefit more from giving maybe 1 coin on 2 people, which then they would only have to give 1 kolbon for the 2 people, for both of them together, than one person individually giving 1 full coin when he would have to get receiving back change of half a coin, because he would have to then give 2 kolbonot tax. Halacha zayin. Kamahu shi'ur kolbon. Now we're dealing with how much, what is, this halacha deals with the amount of money that the kolbon tax literally sums up to. בזמן שהיו נותנים במחצית השקל 2 דינרים, היה הקולבון חצי מעה. In the time that מחצית shekel was worth 2 dinarim, and we spoke about the different sums of how much each coin is worth in chapter 1, and the different sums, what each coin is worth, and the amounts one to another. So in the previous chapter, in chapter 1, so if in the time that מחצית shekel was 2 dinarim, היה הקולבון חצי מעה, the kolbon was the ratio of half a ma'ah. Was half a ma'ah. So shehu אחד משלם 10 בדינר, which is a 12th of a dinar. In other words, a 24th of מחצית shekel, the ratio of 1 to 24 to the מחצית. ומעולם לא ניתן הקולבון פחות מזה, and it was never given, the kolbon was never given less than a 12th of a dinar. והקולבונות אינן כשקלים. And you don't put the money that was given for the kolbonot with the shekalim, but rather, אלא מניחין אותן השולחניים בפני עצמן עד שיסתפק מהן ההקדש. But rather they put the kolbonot, the taxed kolbonot, in a separate place, in a separate pot of money, and this pot has a slightly different status than the shekalim. It is more, perhaps a little bit more lenient. הלכה ח' מי שעבד שקלו חייב באחריותו עד שימסרנו לגזבר. Somebody who designated a certain amount of money, a half a shekel, to give to the Bet HaMikdash, and he lost it, he is liable for this half a shekel until he passes it on to the collector. Once it passes on to the collector, it is already, the liability passes on to the collector. בני העיר ששלחו את שקליהם ביד שליח ונגנבו או אבדו. So, the residents of a city who passed on their hasa'e shekalim to a messenger that was in charge of taking it to Bet HaMikdash, and he lost the coins or they were stolen. אם שומר חינם הוא, הרי זה נשבע להם ונפטר כדין כל שומרי החינם. If the messenger taking the coins for the city is unpaid for his protection of the coins, then the halakha holds that he is not responsible for losing them, because he's a shomer hinnam, and any shomer hinnam is not responsible for the loss and the damages. However, he is obligated to swear to the city, the residents of the city, that he in fact protected the coins adequately. So in order to be not unliable for the loss of the coins, he must swear that he adequately protected the coins, and then he does not have to pay anything. And the residents of the city must recollect half shekels for each person a second time to give to בית המקדש. ואם אמרו אנשי העיר, הואיל ואנו משלמים, אין לשוננו שישבע השליח שהוא נאמן לנו, אין שומעים להן. However, making a swear, making a shevu'ah, it's something very serious, and still it's a scary thing. So the shomer hinam. So let's say the residents of the city say, no, listen, anyway we're re-giving our money, don't make the shomer hinam swear that he adequately protected it so that he doesn't have to make get involved with doing shevu'ot. We don't listen to them, but rather he must swear that he adequately protected the coins in order for him to be unliable for the loss of these coins. Takanat hachamim hi she'en hekdesh yoseh belo shevu'ah, because hachamim prescribed that hekdesh that was lost, that money that was designated for Beit HaMikdash that was lost, does not go unsweared upon, with no shevu'ah. נמצאו השקלים הראשונים אחר שנשבע השליח אלו ואלו שקלים, ואין עולים להן לשנה אחרת, והראשונים יפלו לשקלי השנה, והאחרונים יפלו לשקלי השנה שעברה. And it ends up that all of the shekalim that were donated are considered in fact shekalim, and they do not. And let's say they found the money. So let's say they found the shekalim that were lost. They may not say, oh, because we already regave money, so these shekalim are not for the kodesh anymore. Rather, they're both at the status of shekalim, and the first ones are at the status of as though they were given for the current year, and the second shekalim, the second batch of shekalim, are as though they were given for the previous year. We will see what we mean by first or second in the end of the halacha, in the end of the next halacha. Halacha tet. Now we have the residents of a city that sent their money to Beit HaMikdash vis-a-vis a shomer sachar, a guard that was getting paid, a messenger that was being paid to transport them from the city to Beit HaMikdash. A shomer sachar is liable if what he was protecting was stolen or lost. However, he's unliable if it was something that was not under his control, as like getting mugged or somebody, armed robbery. However, if the coins, the shekalim, were taken from him in a manner that he was not under his control, because he's shomer sachar, he's patur. He is not liable for the coins. If after the teruma was taken out, he was, in other words, if after the first of Nisan, which is the day which the large containers of money, as we described in Halacha Bet, the containers are moved from, okay, so let me just take a step backwards. The messenger would sometimes have to walk many days to make it to Beit HaMikdash. So even if the coins, we said the designated date that the coins have to arrive at Beit HaMikdash is the first of Nisan. But sometimes they would leave way before the first of Nisan, but it would still take a while for them, for the messenger to make it there. So if it was before the first of Nisan, and what happens on the first of Nisan? The first of Nisan is the day in which the coins that were collected from Mahasita Shekel are transferred from the large 3 containers to the small 3 containers, as mentioned in the previous chapter. And I recommend going there to anybody who doesn't remember. So if the person was robbed, the honest, not with his, it was something that was not under his control, before the first of Nisan, so the messenger must swear to the people of the city and the collectors of the tax that he in fact adequately protected the money and it was not under his control, the loss of the money, and the residents of the city are not liable as well. שהתורם תורם על הגבוי ועל העתיד לגבות וברשות הקדשן ובני העיר מה היה להם לעשות, הרי לא מסרו לשומר שכר שהוא חייב בגניבה ואבדה, אבל האונס אינו מסוי. The residents of the city do not have to recollect money for Mahasita Shekel because the money was first of all in the hands of Ekdesh. It was already designated for Beit HaMikdash, okay, and it was already given to the collectors that were on behalf of Beit HaMikdash, and it was, and the people of the city gave it to a shomer sachar, somebody who was supposed to protect it with money, They did all they could do. And the person doing the terumah in Bet HaMikdash, taking from the large containers to the smaller containers in Bet HaMikdash, as we said in chapter 2, he does it on behalf of all of the coins that were given and that were not given. So the coins of these city were given, and therefore, because it was after the first of Nisan, right? And because it was after the first of Nisan that the messenger lost, lost the coins not under his control. So it is as the terumah that was done in Bet HaMikdash, the 3 large containers, the 3 small containers that was done in Bet HaMikdash, was done on behalf even of those that were still on the way to Bet HaMikdash. Therefore, the people of the city have filled their obligation. It's a little complicated to understand, but it's not such a complex thing. It's just 3 stages here. So I'll repeat the stages here again. I'll repeat the the line of reasoning here. First thing is the city. The people of the city gave it to a shomer sachar. Okay, shomer sachar is somebody who's paid for his protecting of the thing. No, the people of the city, they gave it to the collectors of the tax for Bet HaMikdash. So it was already in the hands of Bet HaMikdash, of the collectors for the temple. Now and they sent it with a messenger that was being paid. But at the time of Aleph Nisan, which is the time where the money is supposed to be there, passed, so that the terumah was done, so that they already, the terumah was already done, so that already the process of terumah, as described previously, was done. And because the process of terumah, as described previously, is done on behalf of even the coins that are still on the way to Bet HaMikdash, the people of the city are not held liable for the lost money. However, if the money was lost before תרומת התרומה, עדיין ברשות בני העיר, והשליח נשבע לאנשי העיר והם משלמים. It's still as though the money was in the hands of the people of the city, because it didn't make it, because it wasn't, Aleph Nisan hadn't passed and the terumah wasn't done. Therefore, the shaliach, the messenger, swears that he adequately protected the money, that it was not under his control, the loss of the money, and they must repay half shekels to Bet HaMikdash. נשבע וגבו השקלים שנית, ועל כך החזירים הליסטים, אלו ואלו שקלים. If, for example, if they swore, the person swore, and they repaid the money, and then the money that was robbed, that was stolen, armed robbery was found, or the armed robbers repaid the money, both of the shekalim, both of the batches of money are considered for shekalim, and one of the batches are considered for the current year, and one of the batches are considered as though they were given for the previous year. And now Rambam is going to explain what we mean by current year, previous year. יש מי שאומר שהשקלים הראשונים שיפלו לשקלי השנה הן השקלים שנרבו בתחילה ועבדו או נאנסו וחזרו. ויש מי שאומר שהשקלים הראשונים שהגיעו ליד הגזבר תחילה. There are those who say, and this is interesting, this is one of the few cases in the entire Mishne Tora where Rambam doesn't make a clear cutting Pesach halacha. He says there are some poskim who say that by first batch, we're talking about the batch that was earlier in the giving, that was given earlier, and there are those who say that the first batch are those that made it first to Bet HaMikdash. Okay, and this is a very odd case in which Rambam doesn't actually make Pesach halacha. Halacha yod. הנוטל חצי השקל לחברו, להוליכו לשולחני לשקול אותו על ידו. הלך ושקלו על ידי עצמו כדי שלא ימשכנו אותו. So somebody who gives half a shekel who gives the amount of half a shekel to a friend to give it to the collectors. And he went and took the half a shekel, the friend went and took it for himself, so that they don't, run after him. אם נתרמה התרומה מעל השוקל, שזה השקל מרשות הקודש הוא. If the money that was given made it to Bet HaMikdash or passed Aleph Nisan and was in the hands of the collectors, then the shokel is considered as though he stole from, he did me'ilah, which is as though he stole from Bet HaMikdash. because the money that his friend gave him was 100% designated for Bet HaMikdash, and therefore the friend taking it is as though he stole for Bet HaMikdash. However, שקיבל תרמו לעתיד לגבות, ונמצא זה הסיל עצמו בממון ההקדש, ונהנה בזה השקל. Because the money, because after Aleph Nisan, the teruma is already done, and therefore, even money that wasn't yet in the hands of Bet HaMikdash is considered still part of the money of Bet HaMikdash. And it ends up that this person, הסיל עצמו בממון ההקדש, ונהנה בזה השקל. It ends up this person saved himself from getting run after by the taxers, by the tax collectors, and enjoyed money of Bet HaMikdash. ואם לא נתרמה התרומה לא מעל והוא חייב ליתן לחברו חצי שקל שנתן לו. However, if the teruma was not done yet, it was before Aleph Nisan, and the person did this, took the money for himself and gave it on his own behalf and not on his friend's behalf, he stole, and he didn't do me'ilah, he did robbery, and he must give his friend back, of course, the half a shekel that he took. וכן הגוזל או הגונב חצי שקל ושקלו יסע, והוא חייב לשלם לבעלים שיניים או להוסיף חומש. Also, somebody who steals or robs, who armedly robs or steals money from his friend, from somebody, a half a shekel, and gives it to Bet HaMikdash, it is considered as though he validly gave it. In other words, in the eyes of Bet HaMikdash, it is considered as though he gave to Bet HaMikdash, but nevertheless he has to pay back to the person he stole. If he was stealing unarmed robbery, he has to give homish, which is 25% extra, and if it's armed robbery, he must give double. Just a little point on... yes, okay. הלכה י"א. הנותן מחצית השקל מן ההקדש ונתרמה תרומה, כדי שיסתפקו ממנה יתחייב במעילה ויעשה ידי מחצית השקל. Right. So somebody who gives mahasita shekel from money that was designated to be owned by Bet HaMikdash previously, okay, and Nitrema Teruma, and Aleph Nisan passed, when they use that half the shekel that he gave, he is considered as though he did me'ilah, but he still is Yosef Bayadeh mahasita shekel. He still it's considered as though he gave mahasita shekel, but he did me'ilah, which is a very serious transgression. If he gave from the money that was designated for Ma'aser Sheni we said is when a person, at certain years of the Shemitah, a person, when he eats his fruits, he has to do Terumot Ma'aserot, he has to put aside for Ma'aser Sheni a certain amount, and eat the money of it, and eat the fruits in Bet HaMikdash. So if he gave the money from those fruits for Mahasita Shekel, it is considered as though he gave Mahasita Shekel, but he still has to eat the amount of money that he gave in Yerushalayim, because the law of Ma'aser Sheni obligates him to do so. Also from money of Shevi'it, the fruits of Shevi'it, which are not permitted to be sold, it is considered as though he gave Mahasita Shekel, but he still has to buy and eat fruits on behalf of the fruits that he took for Shevi'it. However, if it was of an Eida Nidahat, the money that he had, it is considered that he didn't do anything. And Eida Nidahat is a city of, and we described this in Ilchot Teshuvah, if I'm not mistaken, Ilchot Avodah Zarah, is a city that all of its inhabitants, or most of its inhabitants, were of the Avodah Zarah, were idolaters, and the city was destroyed. The city is supposed to be destroyed by the order of the Bet Din, and all of the booty of the city is not allowed to be used, and it should be burnt. And somebody uses the booty of the city to give Mahasita Shekel, it is nevertheless as though he didn't do anything. He is not Yosei Dehovah with it. Halakha Yod Bet. המפריש שקלו וסבור שהוא חייב בו, ונמצא שאינו חייב, לא קדש. Somebody who put aside money to give Mahasita Shekel, in a thought that he was still obligated to give Mahasita Shekel, and it ended up that he was not obligated. For example, somebody gave on his behalf or something like that. The money that he put on the side is not considered Hekdesh for Bet HaMikdash and may be used by him. He doesn't have to give the Bet HaMikdash. הפריש שיניים ונפסה שאינו חייב אלא אחד, אם בזה אחר זה האחרון לא קדש. If a person put 2 coins on the side for Mahasita shekel. It ends up that he only has to give one coin. If he put the coins one after the other, he put them on the side for the shekalim. The last one is not kadosh, and only the first one has to be given to Bet HaMikdash. ואם בבת אחת, האחד שקלים והשני מותר שקלים, והשני מותר שקלים. However, put them at once aside for the designated for Bet HaMikdash for shekalim. Only the first one is considered for shekalim mamash, and the second one is motar shekalim, and motar shekalim are cholin. They are usable for anything. Somebody put aside money designated for shekel, for the mahasita shekel, and passed away. The money goes to Nedava for Bet HaMikdash. Nedava is donation. הלכה י"ג. הלוקח מעוד בידו ואמר אלו לשקלי, או שהיה מלקט מעעה או פירוטה, וכשהתחיל ללקט אמר הללי מלקט מעוד לשקלי, אפילו ליקט מלוקיס, נתן מהם חצי שקל שהוא חייב בו והשאר חולין, שמותר לשקלים חולין. Somebody who takes money, a batch of money in his hand, or collects money and says this money is designated, and says with his mouth or in his mind says this money is designated for my the obligation that I have to give mahasita shekel. Only the amount of money that sums up that what's actually half the shekel is considered belongs to Bet HaMikdash, and the rest is holin, does not belong to Bet HaMikdash, and he can use it for whatever he wants. Now, in the previous chapter, we discussed the different containers holding. There were 13 containers of Bet HaMikdash holding all the money that was given to Bet HaMikdash. So, and each container had a different use for it. So, ma'ot, so money that was found in between a container that was designated for shekalim to a container designated for nedava. If the money was closer to the container of the shekalim, we put it back in the container of the shekalim. If the money was closer to the container of nedava, we put it back in the container of the nedava. If it was half exactly in the middle, and we don't know which container it was closer to, then we put it in the nedava, in the container of the nedava, because the nedava is more stringent. What is given by nedava is encompassed by the teva of the shekalim. Therefore, we put it in, but what is given in the teva of shekalim is not fully encompassed by the teva of nedava. Therefore, we put it in the teva of nedava, which is nevertheless will go for something that it was designated for previous in the beginning. הלכה ט"ו. וכן כל המעות הנמצאים בין כל תיבה ותיבה יפלו לקרוב. And any ma'od, any money that is found in between two tevot, we give it to the closer teva. נמצאו מחסה למחסה, אם בין עיסים ללבונה נמצאו יפלו לנבע. If they were found in the middle, however, if it was found in between the teva of trees and frankincense, we put it in the frankincense, which is more stringent. בין כנים לרוזלי העולה, יפלו לרוזלי העלה. Ben, in between birds and specific birds that go for Korban Olah, they go to the box of the specific birds that go to the Korban Olah. And the rule is such. We always go by what is closer if money is found in between two containers. However, if it was exactly in the middle, we always go by the more stringent one, which was described which we just described now. What is more stringent, what is less stringent, how it works. וכל המעות הנמצאות בהר הבית חולים, שאין הגזבר מוציא מעוד מתרומת הלשכה, עד שהוא מחללן על הבהמות שלוקח לקורבנות. And any money that is found lingering around in Har HaBayit, in the area of the temple, is not considered kadosh as cholin, because the rule is that the person in charge of the money only takes out the money from the lishka, only takes out the money from its spot after he already has the animal that the money already bought. And once the money bought the animal, the money is not considered kadosh to Bet HaMikdash. And therefore, the money that is found lingering around in Har HaBayit, we say not most chances are that it was already mehulal, already lost the status of mekudash, and was used for whatever it was used. And here we finish chapter 3. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.